Hey everybody, welcome back. This is going to be the second part of the project build for the 300 Blackout video. So as I said in the previous video, I got some top brass here. I only shot 39 rounds last time I went to the range with it. And this right here actually makes it easier to reload. So I'll have even more brass to choose from to see how these shoot. But these are once fired 5.56 rounds or cartridges that were sized to 300 Blackout, and I got these at Gander Mountain for $12.99, and you can see there 300 Blackout, and on the back here it tells you all the specs of it. So 300 Blackout says modified from once fired 5.56, so these were actually 223 5.56 cases before, and then they were formed for the 300 Blackout. And then it tells you right here that the overall case length is 1.358 inches. So we're going to go with that and see how well these do. And then it says right here that you put the CCI primers number 400s in them. That's what I got. So alright, well I'm going to go ahead and take this out of the box and not spend much time on this. I'm going to go ahead and just do 25 today, about half of these. And I'll go ahead and prime most of them, and when I get to the end I'll show you how I'm doing them. And the press that I'm using is the Lee Challenger Anniversary press. Got this on a really good deal from Walmart.com. It was I can't remember the exact price, but it was around $100 for everything. The only thing it doesn't come with is the dies, so you have to buy the dies for every caliber, but other than that it came with everything you need to reload. And what's nice about these is, since I already have a full length set die sitting over there, brand new 300 Blackout die set, these are already done. All you have to do is just prime them and use your bullet seating die after you put the powder in, and you're good to go. So this is an easy option, and like I said, it'll add more brass to my collection. So let's get to it. Alright, so I'm on my last case here. So you take your primer. Depends on how you want you got your press set up, but this is my primer arm for my small primers. I just take my 300 Blackout and put it in the shell holder. And that's what I didn't mention. Your press doesn't come with the things that you actually need to reload a certain caliber, so that's what you need. Like I said, it don't come with the dies, but that includes the shell holder too, the shell plate and shell holder. But yeah, that's a primed 300 Blackout. Pretty easy, pretty simple. I got most of these done over here. I'll show you here. I made a couple extra ones just because I was noticing that the brass is not the same brand. And when you reload, you want to, if you're reloading for accuracy and not plinking or fun, I try to reload with consistency and keeping the same brass, same name brand brass, because even though it's spec'd for the caliber, each company makes their or gets their brass a different way. So there was more Lake City brass in this assortment that I bought than anything else, but there was Federal, Champion, and Winchester. So I went ahead and made just primed up 25 Lake City brass, 300 Blackout brass. So now we're going to go ahead and start the reloading process. I'm going to get the scale set up here. I'll show you that in a second. And then we're going to add the powder to the powder measure over here on the press platform. And we're going to drop some powder in and get these bullets loaded in there. So, alright, so we have our powder measure scale zeroed, and then we're going to put it on 14 grains because that's what I'm going to be using today. So what that means is we're going to move our ball to 10 and then move our actual grain scale to 4, so that'd be 14. Get it close as possible. That's about 14 right there. So now the real trick is trying to find how much 14 is in your density through your powder dispenser. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. That way I don't waste anybody's time, because I start rambling on. But once I find that, I'll show you on the scale when it zeroes out. Then we'll start dropping powder in the cases, and I'll go ahead and switch the dies out for the 300 Blackout for the seating die. So let me show you that. So I found my sweet spot. 14 grains of little gun is about 1.06 cc's, and that's what the powder measure displays as. That's how you adjust your powder measure in cubic centimeters, and then it relates volume to grains. So that was pretty easy. And now that I found the powder charge, I'm going to go ahead and put my die in, and then we'll start reloading. Okay, before we even touch the die, I'm going to put some gloves on my hands, just because if you've noticed or seen a few videos on YouTube about guys reloading, they wear gloves, and I didn't know why. Well, until I started reloading, I didn't use gloves, and my 30-06 dies are pretty much rusted now because of my hands. My hands contain oil. I mean, everybody's hands contains a little bit of oil, but my hands are, I guess, potent because my 30-06 dies are covered with rust, and I never use gloves. So if you're reloading or get into reloading, I highly recommend gloves so your dies don't get rusted if you want to keep them looking good. And for Hornady, if you've ever had Hornady dies before, they recommend spraying them down with oil. So we're going to go ahead and spray them down a little bit and just clean them. They recommend giving them a nice coating of oil. I like getting them nice and clean there. I mean, they're already clean from factory, but they recommend doing it just to get them. Alright, so I'm removing my 308 Winchester dies, seating die. And now I'm going to put my bullet seating die for my 300 Blackout in my press here. So, just to start out, to get the die set, I save a round that I shoot, and this is the Remington UMC 120 grain open tip flat base bullets that I used the other day, and these are, I believe, 2.1 in length, overall case length, 2.15. I'm going to go ahead and put them in my press and get the die adjusted first, though, and then we'll be set. So to get my die adjusted for the seating die, I'll show you guys here. So here's what we're going to do this. We're going to stick it about, let that sit all the way down like that with the bullet in it. Now we're going to lock the ring down. Try that out. Trial and error. That's what happens when you reload pretty much all the time. Unless you got it down. I'm not an expert, like I said. Still new to the game, but I've been doing it for a couple months now, and I don't know everything. So let's see here. Okay, so we got our die finally set after tinkering with it for a minute. So now that's the example bullet. Like I said, 2.15. That's what that's going for. Alright, let me go ahead and close this box. Get our measure. Excuse me. Alright. I don't have shell holders, so I just use the holders that came with the factory ammo. It's probably not the best thing in the world, but it works for me. That's nice. Really all we need ones right now, just to see where it's loading at. So take our powder that we measured, put it in our case. None of it got out, so we're good there. So now, put this in there like that. Get our bullets ready. Loading with the Hornady Interlock 150s. Get a knife here. My first reloading video ever, so like I said, I'm not that great at it, but alright. And what's nice about Hornady dies is they have a sleeve in them that aligns the bullet already. So all you do is just put it up in there, and that's about as close as you can get it, I guess. So we're going to measure the overall length and see what it did. That's not bad, 2.14. But I'm going to go a little bit deeper than that, just because of the cannulaire. There's a cannulaire on the other bullet too, but these are saw points. So I'm going to adjust for that, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we got our finished 300 Blackout round here at 2.1 inches overall length. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these loaded up and get back to you and when I finish up. Finally, on the last round, I actually primed 26 cases instead of just 25 because you mess up. I mean, it happens, but I didn't luckily yet. So we're on the last round here. And I don't reload like super match quality or anything like that. I just reload to get by. So I just don't want anybody to think that I'm doing something wrong. So it's not that I'm reloading just to reload. I do it because I like to save money when I buy hunting loads. And as long as my bullets are going where I need them to, I don't really care how it happens, you know, or how it gets done, just as long as they get reloaded and I'm happy with them. So I don't have a chamber guide or anything like that, but I did, like I said, overall case length 2.1 inches, and then I'll show you here's the actual load that I was trying to copy. Now, since this is 120, I can't really copy the feet per second, but I did pretty much copy I took off a little bit more for the overall length due to the fact that one's a soft point and one's a match tip hollow point open tip, and the full metal jacket or open tips like that are going to be hair longer. So I kind of just pressed it down to about the same, not a little bit farther down on the cannulaire, or a little bit closer up to the top of the cannulaire. But other than that, you know, it's going to work. And this is with 14 grains of little gun, 150 grain interlock. So let's see what they do in the magazine here. This is my dedicated 300 Blackout magazine. If you see my last video, I actually was having trouble with this in my 223, so I stopped using it, and then I actually took it apart and put a new anti-tilt Magpul follower in it, which helps with feed issues, but I didn't have one single issue using that ammo, factory ammo, the other day when I went to the range. So let's see what it looks like. Load a couple in here. See how it works. A lot of guys, you know, on their calibers, if they're not reloading 300 Blackout, they load to the end of the magazine. That's, you know, it's totally up to whoever's doing it, but I like to find out what works. So it looks like these are going to work. It's pressing out pretty easy. It's going straight up, not getting caught. And that's what I like to do. I like to test out my rounds kind of like this before I even put them in the gun to see if they're going to function. And like I mentioned in my last video, the P-Mag has a lip specifically sized for the 5.56, so I doubt it's going to feed that well, or these 300 Blackout bullets are going to feed that well in there. That's why I didn't even try, and I just rebuilt this magazine. So it looks like they're going to fit for a 3-shot group pretty good. Good little hunting round. So I'm going to round these up, and we're going to head to the range, and I'll include that in the second part of this video. And then I'll show a review of the target at the end. Alright guys, so fortunately I didn't film my shots today because it was more of a date with my wife, and she didn't want me to have any cameras out. But this is my 3-shot group. The best probably one of my hand loads. And they opened up a little bit. I don't know if that was because the barrel's getting dirty or what, but my wife actually shot 2. There's 2 shots and then 1 that she did. That's a group. There's another 3-shot group there. And there's 2-shot group there. 3-shot group there she did. Pretty good overall. Mild crimp on these bullets. Not too bad. I think I'm going to have to double check the trim case length on these, because that batch that I got from Top Brass, it needs to be checked again. And plus, now that I have those brass, I can go ahead and trim them to the length I need. And I think the length was off by a little bit on each one, but other than that, I mean, for a hunting round, I think less than an inch, that's probably about the best I'm going to get out of that gun, unless I go with the full metal jacket boat tail, or any type of boat tail really. But that seems about the same as I was getting last time with the 120s open tip match. But yeah, I mean, looks like I got me a little hunting round that's going to work. So I just need to, like I said, tighten up the trim length, and then double check everything again and make sure it's going to work for me. But I think I found the right round and right bullet for it. Oh, and they all function flawlessly with that magazine. No hiccups, not one jam, nothing. I mean, it all worked out. I even did a little trigger job to my lower, so it breaks at a nice crisp 3.5 pounds mil spec. I just polished it up. If you want to know how I did that, I can post the link in my AR to my AR trigger job video. I'll put that in the description. But other than that, all in all, it's a pretty good day. Great little round. I know it's not the tightest possible, but for being a 30 caliber bullet being pushed by a shotgun powder, and I can't really complain, especially using free bullets. And you know, if I'm getting that every time, which I'm sure I will after I, like I said, double check my cases and make sure that they're trimmed to the right length and chamfered and deburred and all that good stuff, and you know, everything else, just basically quality check every round, and I should be good to go. And this is all with the center point scope, same scope I had on the first video. Great scope, and the wife loved it. First time she shot an AR since she got out of the military. So alright guys, hope you liked the video. You know, this to me, this is a bassist load for 14 grains, about the lowest for a 150 grain bullet, and it cycled, like I said, flawlessly, no hiccups, and I'm glad it worked out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Appreciate it. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.